On this episode of Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery, I'm going to talk about the curse of knowledge and how it's holding you back.
Running a successful fee-based financial planning business is tough, and escaping the shackles of a commission-based financial planning practice is terrifying. When all you want to do is learn from those who know, learn from financial planners who are there on the front lines doing it each and every day. What if you could just open their kimono and take a look inside to learn what works and what doesn't? Now there's a place where the secrets to running a fee-based financial planning business are revealed to those who believe. Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery. Ease your mind.
Hi everyone, it's Scott Plaskett here, and thanks for joining me. In this podcast, you will learn what's working and what's not in the world of fee-based financial planning. In each episode, I'm going to open my kimono and let you take an insider's look at what's working and what's not in my practice to help you take your business to the next level. I've been a fee-based certified financial planner since the early 90s, so believe me, I know the challenges you're facing. So get ready to learn not from a teacher, coach, or guru, but from a colleague who's on the front lines just like you. And I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my email internet newsletter to get the most up-to-date tips on how to build and grow your fee-based financial planning practice by going to feebasedfinancialplanningmastery.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. I'm so happy to be here on this one. I've been, just wanted to bring up to date a little bit of what's been going on. The Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery LinkedIn group has taken off. Yeah, there's well over 100 people there. It's been a very short period of time, and a lot of people have signed up for it. And the thing that I find the coolest about the LinkedIn group are some of the great conversations that are going on there. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely go over there. Just submit a request. Just go to LinkedIn and type in Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery. And what will happen is then you'll make a request to join the group. If you are a practicing CFP, then you're in. If you're not a practicing CFP, sorry, at this point, you're not in because it's really just a group for practicing CFPs. And, well, not even practicing CFPs. You don't even have to be a CFP. You have to be just a practicing financial advisor of some sort. So make sure that that's very, very clearly articulated in your LinkedIn profile so that when we go to check it, we can make sure that you are part of that and we'll put you in. Now, I wanted to give a shout out. I don't think I've done a shout out for a while, but I just wanted to give a shout out to some people over the past week or so who have basically reached out to me with some questions and comments and whatever. So I'm going to just say hi to Judy M, and we're going to say a shout out to Rob H, Kevin S, Christopher R, Danny C, Dave G, and Robert. Guys, I want to thank you all for reaching out. I love the questions and comments and everything that goes along with that. And on that note, iTunes. iTunes is a weird thing. For whatever reason, and I don't know why they do this, but for whatever reason, whenever you put a review on iTunes, you basically put the review based on the country that you're viewing it or listening to it in. So if you're in Canada, then you're going to be on the Canadian site and you're going to put a review for the Canadian site. But that review doesn't show up on any of the other sites. If you're in the US, same thing. Your review shows up on the US site, but it doesn't show up on the Canadian site. So, I wouldn't mind if everybody would just mind going to iTunes in whatever country you're coming from, whether it be, they're all over, people I can tell on some of the subscriptions here that people are all over the world. So I'd love it if you could put some if you could put some iTunes reviews on from where you're calling from or from where you're listening to it from. That would be awesome. Just put a little comment as to whether you like the show, whether you don't like the show. I just love to hear back from how people are enjoying things, and if just put some comments on there because iTunes, I'd love to see that the show get sort of highlighted as one of the new and noteworthy or something of interest. But for whatever reason, we've got lots of traffic, we've got lots of interest, but the comments when they come through, there's a few here, a few there, but they're all on different sites. So if you wouldn't mind from your local site, just going on and putting a quick review, I would really appreciate that. So anyways, yeah, lots going on. The whole fee-based financial planning is taking off around the world. People are talking about the whole changes that are happening with regulations. So it couldn't be more timely. Anyways, let's get into the feature segment and we will start talking about some really cool stuff.
And now for our feature segment.
The curse of knowledge and how it's holding you back. First off, I'm going to say that I have a cold. And so Yeah. Anyways, it's very challenging sometimes to talk for the time that I talk with a cold. So if I happen to, start coughing or something like that, just bear with me. So let me explain something to you. Let me ask you a question. Explain to me everything that you know. Okay, well, maybe not everything. That would be a huge list. Let's just keep it to financial planning. Yeah, that's a pretty big list also. Okay, let's just keep it to retirement income planning. Well, that's still a huge list. You see where I'm going here? You know a ton of information. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here, because this whole idea about the curse of knowledge, I think can be, you'll understand what I'm talking about in this example. Let's say your Aunt Betty makes what you would consider the world's best apple pies. Now, she's been doing this for over 40 years. She's what you would consider a pro. Then you ask her to teach you how to do it. So she gives you a recipe and says, okay, let's begin. So you start kneading the dough. She says, can you feel that? Once you feel that, you know you're ready to roll it out. You say to yourself, feel what? She then rolls out her dough and, you do the same with yours. She says, it's important that you cut the apples to this thickness and lay them out just so. Then cover the apples with 1 cup of sugar evenly. Can you see that? She says. Can you see how the sugar absorbs the moisture just that way? You say to yourself, see what? I don't see what she's talking about. At the end, guess what happens? Aunt Betty's pie is perfect. Your pie, well, not so perfect. Why? Aunt Betty has the curse of knowledge. She finds it hard to teach you what she has intuitively figured out over a lifetime. I've been running a fee-based financial planning firm for over 20 years. The other day, I offered to all of my academy students a free one-on-one live coaching call. These calls were awesome. You know what it did for me? It allowed me to get into the head of another financial planner and see the challenges that I find, kind of hard to see these days. I find it hard because I have what's known as the curse of knowledge. I know that by the end of each call that, when I did these calls with these students, we were both better for it because we got a chance to talk through some of these little things that, oftentimes you just forget about. But when somebody asks a question, how do you do this? How do you do that? You're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot how, that was a real stumbling block. And here's exactly how I dealt with it. Now, we all have the curse of knowledge in certain areas, but the one thing I know for damn sure is that every practicing financial planner listening to this episode has the curse of knowledge when it comes to financial planning. Let me explain. Let's be honest, the financial services industry is facing the most challenging times you've ever seen. First of all, you're suffering through a totally skeptical and mistrusting public caused by the avalanche of negative articles and reports of scandals in the media. The resulting compliance panic at our head offices, well, they've made an already tough marketing environment nearly impossible. And I hear from every corner of the globe how traditional prospecting efforts are simply not working. Stories of people turning and walking away when they're approached. To this day, head office training programs are still, and this blows me away, they're still telling people to make their top 100 list of friends and family and approach them. And then they give them the scripting on how to approach them for selling more product. Did you know what as far as I can tell, by the time you've finished your CFP, the licensing is what I'm referring to, and you obtain your license, that you've written a total of 0 comprehensive financial plans. And that blows me away. How on earth does this make sense? Then the product manufacturers get hold of the new recruits and force them to sell products first. Financial planning when they need to. The whole process is minimizing the value of financial planning because nobody at the manufacturing end of the spectrum has figured out how to make money from providing advice. So they try to commoditize the advice through giving away free financial plans in exchange for selling you more product. It's crazy. I mean, the fact that they're still doing this blows me away, but it happens every day. But let me tell you that it's the same messed up economy that in my mind is the best marketing opportunity ever. You've heard me say this time and time again, that most people are more confused now than they ever have been before, pretty much to the point of being clueless on how to make heads or tails about their finances, which simply means if we embrace an education-based marketing methodology so that we can move the knowledge scale of our clients to a point that provides them with a certain minimum level of confidence, they will let us Pretty much they'll let us do the rest for them. We just need to get them off the bench. The problem is, though, that we have this curse of knowledge that's holding us back. The curse of knowledge is holding us back in a variety of ways. First of all, we know what we do is awesome and valuable. We don't know how to explain what it is that we do to others so that they can begin to see it as valuable. One of the most common challenges I find with financial planners is that they have no idea how to articulate what it is that they do to a level that makes them sound any different than the next product salesperson. And that's because we as financial planners still discount the value of our financial planning process. I said it in a previous episode, people aren't looking for a financial plan. They're looking for someone to take them through a financial planning process. All too often, financial planners get caught up in the performance discussion when it comes to investments. All too often, we get caught up in the product side of financial planning, which, at the end of the day, clients don't give a damn about. You can no longer use the tactics of explaining products through features and benefits to try and sell products. That simply won't work on a skeptical, a fearful and confused public. In other words, you just need to stop doing what you've always done and come at things from a different perspective. First of all, you need to understand that you have the curse of knowledge and begin to place some serious value on what it is that you do. You see, if you don't feel that what you do is valuable, how on earth are you going to be able to confidently charge a client a fee for what it is that you do? The second thing you need to do is understand that there is no get-rich-easy road when it comes to fee-based financial planning, but there is a get-rich-quick route. It just isn't easy. I don't remember who said it, but it takes a lot of years to become an overnight success. I'm not saying that overnight you will suddenly have a successful financial planning business, but I am saying that there will come a morning that you will wake up and realize that you have become a success. And when that happens, it's an amazing thing. It actually allows you to look back and go, you know what? Yeah, I'm now an overnight success because of all the hard work that I put into things. So here's what I would recommend you do to become an overnight success. First of all, get your website up and running. I can't tell you the number of people who I talk to, number of fee-based financial planners, number of financial professionals in general, who don't have their website up and running. I mean, I don't know how to put it. Get with the program. This is the age when people check you out on the internet first. And you don't want to have just a glorified business card as a website, one that says this is my name, this is my, you want to have something that's much more robust than that. There's no point in winking at people in the dark anymore. I mean, this whole idea of getting a website, it's just a necessity. I remember when there was a time when I actually asked myself, what do I need an email address for? Could you imagine doing business without it? So many people are using email. So many people are using the web. And if you don't have your website up and running, people are going there just to check out, do you have the basics in place? There's no point in winking at people in the dark anymore, which means basically trying to promote yourself without people knowing that you exist. You need to put yourself out there so people can do a little research on who you are before they call you to have an initial meeting. Second thing you need to do is get your email lead capturing program running. This is probably, it sort of goes hand in hand with the website, but you have to get this done. If you're not capturing your leads' emails, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. It's been proven, and I've said this before, that only 15% of buyers who inquire about a product or service will buy it within the first 90 days of their inquiry. Okay, so now you've got 85% of the buyers who will buy. They will buy. And if you don't have a lead nurturing system in place that extends to at least 12 to 18 months beyond when somebody initially inquires about something, you'll be missing those 85% of buyers who will buy within the next 18 months, and you will lose a ton of money. It's no wonder that people in their marketing programs, they get frustrated because they say it doesn't work. It's because they're not doing it properly. It's basically when you're wasting it away like this and you're not recognizing where the opportunities are, it's just money and your wisdom wasted. Now, the third thing, you need to build an inventory of high-quality content you can promote to your geographic markets. Listen, bottom line is this. If you're serious about this business, you need to start talking about it. You need to start identifying what are some of the challenges that people are facing. You need to be dealing with these challenges head on. I can't tell you the number of leads that I get from people who have read my blogs, who have read about things that I've written, who have heard me speak, who have heard me on the podcast, whatever it happens to be. And you know what? They're calling me because I'm the only one talking about it. Everybody else has got this high gloss promotional material. My stuff is not. It's actually kind of ugly if you really ask me. But the bottom line is people don't really care what it looks like. They care about the information they're getting from it. They're caring about the value. You need to write something that will answer some of the frustrations your target market faces. You need to promote this content to them in exchange for their name and email address. You know, I've talked about this before. You need to get your information out there. You just need to put together some information that is, you know, there's just so many things you can do, so many things you can write about. You know, if you read an article, go to the newspaper, go to this week's newspaper or even today's newspaper and just see what some of the other financial writers are writing about and put your own spin on that story and put something together, put a little blog post together and then promote that post, you know, online. You can promote it through, if you really get a piece that becomes quite good. And if you don't know how to write, let's say your writing skills are a little bit shaky, then you know what? Just ask somebody to ask you questions. Put together a whole series of questions and then answer your questions into a voice recorder of some sort. And then take that information and transcribe it. Transcribe it into something that now you can start editing and just sort of whittle it down until you've got a report of some sort that you can then offer out there to the marketplace. People, if it's a piece that really is addressing a good concern, and I tell you, it's easy to find what these concerns are. Go to some of the articles that are written in the newspaper and see if people are commenting on them. And if there's a lot of comments, guess what? It's a concern. It's something that people will be interested in. So you need to get out there and build an inventory of a high quality content. You need to give yourself, you know, almost a writing schedule or some sort of a schedule that says, listen, every week or every couple weeks, I'm going to post, whether it be a blog post, whether it be a podcast, whether it be something. I'm going to post something. It doesn't have to be long. I always say that the length of the article or the length of what you're putting together, I heard a funny one, it has to be the length of a mini skirt. Long enough to cover the essentials, but short enough to keep you interested. And that's exactly what you need to be doing. And just, put something together. And you know what? The first stuff you're going to put together is going to be crap. It's not going to be the greatest. I look back at some of the stuff I put out there many, many years ago, and I think, oh my gosh, did I actually write that? That just didn't sound good at all. But anyways, bottom line is it's out there. And you know what? You get better and you get better. You've got to commit to it. So build an inventory of high quality content that you can promote. Now, the next thing, the fourth thing you need to do is you need to develop an initial meeting process that you can rely on to do two things. First, it has to be a process that weeds people out who are not your ideal client. And secondly, it needs to provide a high transparent logical progression of how you do what you do. And you want that to basically happen over two meetings. You need to build rapport during all of these stages. And don't be afraid to ask for a meeting. Dean Jackson, one of the smartest marketers I've ever come across, says it like this. He says, if you walk into my house and I told you to take anything you would like from the fridge is yours, make yourself at home, sit down, relax, turn the TV on, the fridge is full, how many of you would go to the fridge and help yourself? That's right, pretty much zero. I would think that very few of you would actually do so. But if I came out of the kitchen with a freshly baked plate of cookies and stood in front of you and said, here, please take a fresh cookie. I made them just for you. How many of you would take a cookie? That's right, pretty much all of you. So why the difference? The answer lies in leadership. You see, you gave me very easy instructions to a very low risk reward. Okay, so when I came to you and said, listen, I want you to take a cookie. I just made them. I made them specifically for you. That was great. You took the cookie because I gave you the leadership and the direction on what to do. So you take the cookie. You need to make sure that your process keeps this in mind. So when you're communicating with people, when you're talking with people, don't be afraid to lead them down the path that they need to go. When you're nurturing people through your email campaigns, don't be afraid. Just tell them that you have a meeting available for them, a meeting that you would like them to take advantage of. You've got to lead them down the path, and don't be afraid to do that. You need to show some leadership. Now, the next thing you want to do is it needs to be seen as illogical for you not to charge a fee for the financial planning process you offer. You hear what I said there? It needs to be seen as illogical. I hear it all the time. Who would pay a fee for what they can get for free? Well, the answer to that question is nobody. Of course, nobody would take it. But I take on new clients every week who pay a fee of at least $2,000. The reason is that it becomes very clear to them that they can't get what it is that we offer from anyone else. And to get it for free would be ridiculous. How ridiculous would it be to walk into a Harley-Davidson dealership and go through their process just to have them tell you that the custom motorcycle you're about to purchase costs less than the generic moped you can buy from Walmart? It would be foolish. I'll also tell you that a Harley-Davidson rider expects to pay a premium for what they get. They expect the more custom the work, the longer it will take to get. This adds to their pleasure of paying a higher fee. People have no issue paying for value. You just need to be able to tell them why they are paying for it. So, it's all in how you set your process up to begin with. When people come in and if they're there and they're questioning fees right off the bat, and then, well, why would you charge a fee for a financial plan that I can get, for free down the street? Which, by the way, I've never had anybody say, but that's what I think our biggest fear is, that people are going to say that. You need to be able to come back and say, well, that's different. That's not the financial planning that you get here. You can get a financial plan down the street, but what you can't get is our financial planning process. So let me take you through the process and let me explain to you what I mean. Then you decide. That's a much more confident approach that you need to take. So you need to develop a plan presentation process that will then deliver your financial planning process in a way that allows clients to constantly build their confidence. So many times people begin working with me because they feel they need some help with their investment portfolio. So they come to me saying, oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated with my investments. I just need somebody to take a look at. I need you, I've been referred to you, or I read about you, or whatever. I just need you to take a look at this. This is my biggest concern. But by taking them through a process that allows them to see the importance of taking a look at how everything works together and providing solutions to all other aspects of their financial plan, this will build their confidence to a level that you've never experienced. And since you're the one that they trust, they will stay with you for a lifetime. Every time they see how another aspect of their financial plan is critical to choosing a better investment solution, which is the original reason they came in, they will see how getting clear on their overall financial plan will provide greater clarity into what they need their investment plan to do for them. So when you present the best solution, they'll thank you for taking the time and going through all the other aspects. They'll thank you for taking the comprehensive approach and making sure that everything is checked out. Because I'll tell you, when you take that comprehensive approach, as many of you very well know, you oftentimes get directed to a different investment solution than if they just came in saying, hey, listen, this is what I want to accomplish. So the financial planning process is important, and you need to develop a plan, a presentation process that you go through that will allow people to go through all of the stages of your financial planning process so that they can get very, very confident at the end of the day when it comes time to pull the trigger and implement that plan. You need to develop a financial plan review process after this. So after you've done the planning, you've got to have a process in place to keep the client's level of confidence high. You see, the real value in our financial planning process is not in the writing of the financial plan. It's not even in the initial year's worth of work that you're doing and taking them through the financial planning process. The real long-term value comes from the ongoing maintenance of that process, the review process, keeping the plan on track. Ask any of your clients, ask any of the prospects that come to meet with you, how many times, like if somebody came to you and they've got a financial plan, or they said, oh, I've got a financial plan already. Ask them one question. When was the last time you reviewed it? When was the last time you benchmarked it to see if you were on track? 9 times out of 10, even 9.9 times out of 10. They'll come back and say, oh, after we basically put the investments in place, we haven't looked at the plan forever. We just do a review of the investments all the time. Well, many years ago, we found that when we reached out to book our review meetings on a consistent basis, that we had a few interesting things happen. So, developing this whole financial planning process, it actually starts to show your clients and train your clients on a variety of things. Number one, they get used to it and they get almost in anticipation of it. So what it actually did for us was, one of the big things we noticed was that the volume of incoming calls with questions drastically reduced. And this was all because we implemented a review process. The reason is that clients said to themselves, well, I'll just wait until my next review meeting and I'll ask them then. So the whole process we went through of training clients to get used to our regular review meetings, their confidence has gone way up because they know they can focus on the things that they're interested in. They can focus on having fun, which, is something that's so important to me. They can focus on what's really important to them, knowing that I've got their back on their financial plan. And I'm going to bring them back in every couple times a year to just have a quick review with them. Maybe not even bring them in, maybe just do an online meeting to have a review with them, to say to them, hey, listen, I've checked everything out. I've reviewed everything, monitored everything, benchmarked it. We are on track. Or come back to them and say, hey, you know what? We're off track. And we need to take advantage of some opportunities here to get you back on track. So that's one thing that we have found that has been a huge success in the review process, is making sure you've got a process that clients can rely on. And we've been able, as I say, we've been able to train clients to get used to it, get used to the regular review meetings, and their confidence goes way, way up in everything that we do, so that when we do bring something to their attention, they realize, wow, this is important because it's outside of the review meetings, and I give somebody a call, they answer the call, and they listen to what I have to say. So, when we see them on track, we tell them that they're on track at the review meeting. When we see them falling off track, we tell them that they're falling off track, and we provide them with solutions to bring them back on course. They love this because they don't have to do it, but they know it's getting done. So don't let the curse of knowledge get in your way and discount the value of the financial planning you offer. I know that pretty much, put it this way, if you sat down with somebody at the first meeting, I know without a doubt that by the end of that meeting, you pretty much know exactly what the client should do and how they should do it. And so oftentimes what I find people do is they figure, well, I'm going to add so much value to this client relationship by being so quick with them. And I'm going to make them realize that we can get this done so quick and efficiently. Well, I know you can figure this stuff out in your sleep. I know because you have the curse of knowledge. You've got some wisdom. You've got a certain level of knowing about what somebody should do almost before they even finish their sentences. But don't deny the client the experience of going through the process at the right pace. They need to gain the confidence so that they can sleep easy. It's all about them. It's not all about you. And I've seen it happen more. Actually, I've seen it happen to the negative here, where I've actually said, you know what, I'm just going to do everything in one meeting. I'm going to take the first meeting, and they happen to bring all their information with them, even when I told them not to. Let's just do it all at once, and we'll just, because they really seem motivated. And sure enough, they say, yeah, that's great, let's do it. I sign them up, and what happens? A week later, they email back and say, you know what, I think I'd like to wait. Why did that happen? Well, honestly, it's because things got rushed. And so once we saw that pattern, we just said, you know what, everybody has to go through the process. And I had a call the other day with somebody. He called me up and he said, listen, I've been doing my research. I found you on the internet. I've got a whole series of people that I've found on the internet. I'm just doing some research on the phone, first of all. I went through his whole situation. He was a guy, he sold his business, and so I just started talking to him like a business owner. And all of a sudden he was like, wow, you're talking about things that I haven't had anybody else talk about. And what I was talking about was simply financial planning. But I recognized, because he was a business owner, I was talking about financial planning for business owners and how it's different. And we started having that conversation. Well, it was that conversation that he said, listen, I'd love to get together with you. I said, great. Then why don't we get together? I said, don't bring anything with you. Let's just have our first meeting because, we've talked a little bit about information here, but I just want to get I want a little more clarity, but I don't want to dive into the details at this point. And he said, look, if I bring everything with me, and I said, you can bring it with you, but chances are we're not going to go through it because, good things take time. And my goal is to make sure that what it is that we do is right for you. And I would hope that you'd want to take some time to make sure that we're the right firm for you as well. So why don't we just, slow it down a little bit and let's not rush things. However, I don't want to stall things, but let's not rush things, but let's go through it appropriately. He said, okay, you know what? Sounds like a plan. Let's do just that. And so now we're going to be booking a meeting and moving that forward. So, make sure you stick to your knitting on that. Make sure you stick to the fact that you've got a process that you go through, because you don't want to deny your clients that experience, because denying them that experience just simply means that their confidence level will start to go down. Now, by making sure you don't rush the process, because the other thing that happens is when you rush the process, you actually discount the value that the client's going to be receiving. So, you've got to charge appropriately for the financial planning process. Clients expect you to. If you don't, they will devalue your advice. So if you're talking about things and they're expecting in their mind, oh, this is going to be a few $1,000s, and you come back and say, oh, I'll give it to you for free. Instantly, you've discounted it, and they've recognized that. They've discounted it as well, and they're like, wait a minute, what gives here? Nothing comes for free. Even if you then offered, say, to do it for $250, they may look and go, wait a minute, I thought it was going to be like a few $1,000s. $250, that must be a pretty cheap process. So, charging it a higher price for what it truly is, the value is, goes a long way. So don't let the curse of knowledge get in your way. All right. I know that, as we talked about, you've got the fact that can probably rush things along. Just don't do it. A handful of the recent live coaching calls that I did made me realize how cursed I am when it comes to what has been created, what the whole fee-based financial planning process that we've created. I didn't realize that the general theme from the calls was, what should I do first? And so I had a whole handful of calls, and, I'd say probably the most popular question was, look, what do I need to do next? What's my next step? What should I do next? What, in your mind, knowing what you now know about me and my business and whatnot, what should I do next? Well, it was when I was going through these details of saying, okay, well, you know what? I think you should do this, and here's how you do it. And I started going through, here's what you do first, here's what you do second, here's what you do next, and next, and next. And I realized, wow, I'm almost overwhelming these people with all the things that they need to do. And to me, I could just sit down and do it. I could, put together a website real quick. I could put together the email nurturing campaign. I could put together a form. I could plop it onto the website. I could do all this stuff. I could probably go from 0 to having everything completed in about 3 hours. And I'm talking a full website, fully, basically fully customized and with a theme on it, and content and all that sort of stuff. I could do that probably within about 3-4 hours. And I'm going through all the details and saying, wow, I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot there. So, thank goodness that in the academy, there's all that laid out for them. But, it does take some time. I recognize that even with the academy, laying out everything that one needs to do, that it does take time to complete the initial steps. But I'll tell you, it's worth it. Getting things set so you've got everything automated is an amazing process. And there's a certain core essence that you have to have in place. Sure, a lot of the stuff that I've put together, I'm sort of fine-tuning the edges, with my business right now. And, I've got the core stuff in place. But get that core stuff in place is really critical. So this is a business that allows you to provide so much value to clients and get paid very well for it. It truly is a win-win business. You've also got to understand that you're not alone anymore. This is something I wish I had when I started. And to a certain extent, I wish I had more of it today. A sense of being part of a community. And that's what this is. That's what the LinkedIn group is all about. I've always operated on an island by myself. I've been very fortunate to have, such a supportive partner, and who's also my wife. But the reality is, there are very few people in this world that you can talk to about business like this. That's why I joined mastermind groups. That's why I selfishly started this podcast, because I love the interaction with others, other like-minded financial professionals. This is why I created the Fee-Based Financial Planning Mastery LinkedIn group. I figured it was a great place to chat about important topics that only other financial planners would understand. That's why the group is a closed group. I have no intention whatsoever of opening up the group. And if the group stays at the level it is, that's great, because there's a core group in there that are talking, that are communicating, that we're sharing ideas and perspectives on things. And I tell you, this industry is going to change a lot. And if you're not part of a group like this, you're going to miss out on a lot of not only opportunities, but a lot of strategies which could really help. Technology has brought everyone closer together based on their passions. And this is obviously one of my passions, and I love this business. I really appreciate all the people who have participated in it, who are listening to the podcast, who are commenting on things, who are putting reviews on iTunes, who are in the academy, who are in on the posts and commenting on the blog posts, who are basically communicating with one another through this community, so to speak, because not all of the parts are linked together. I mean, LinkedIn is completely separate, but it's all based on people who've been listening to the podcast, and so people will go to that. So definitely check out the LinkedIn group. It is a free group, and as I said earlier in the show, all you need to do is make sure that it does say in your profile that you are somewhat in the financial advice giving arena, and we'll make sure that you get to be made part of that. But this really is an amazing world right now when we can really start to get off the island that we're on by ourselves and start to collaborate with other people. And you know what the great thing is about it is there's no risk in doing so, because it's not like somebody, it's not like you're collaborating with the person in the office next to you. You're collaborating with somebody that could be halfway around the world, so there's no risk in anybody taking anybody's clients or anything like that. All it can do is make everybody better. So understand that you have tremendous knowledge. And when harnessed properly, you'll provide tremendous value to anyone you come into contact with. Understand that you probably have the curse of knowledge, and this will kind of get in the way. So recognize that, and recognize that you don't want to deny your clients the experience of moving through your financial planning process. And if you haven't got the process laid out, get it laid out. I think this is the message that I want to get across from this show is that you just got to get off your butt and start doing stuff. You've got to start failing forward, which is, something I've talked about before. Understand that if you don't charge for your financial planning process, and if you don't do it right, if you don't set it up properly, then your clients and your prospective clients are actually going to be upset, and they're going to devalue everything that you do from that point forward. So, you've got to take advantage of these strategies and techniques and tools and everything that goes along with it, because if you don't, you're simply going to look and feel like everyone else. This whole process that we take you through, teach you how to incorporate into your business, it is simply different. You will get comments from people saying, I wish you'd come along a lot earlier. And I'd love to hear if anybody else has comments. The comments I get are, first of all, I get people saying thank you. I get people saying, wow, this is great. This is exactly what I'm looking for. This is nothing like what I've been getting up till now. I want to know what some of the other comments are. So if you could, maybe the question of this post is, or this podcast is, if you go to the comment section and answer the question, what are some of the comments that you've received from people who you've actually gone through this process with, that you've charged a fee to? Now, it means that this is predicated, or question is predicated on the fact that you have charged a fee. And if you haven't charged the fee, you got to get to doing that. And I tell you, I know charging your first fee can be terrifying. It can be very, very scary. But you know what? It's only scary for you. If you go through the process that I've taken you through and you follow that process, that whole process will actually lend itself quite nicely. And if you haven't heard some of the recordings I've released for the coaching calls that I've done with people who have actually implemented the process, they've all said, I followed the process, and the guy took his checkbook out and he wrote a check. And there was no issue there. And that was when I realized that I didn't charge him enough. So, this is something that works. It works very well. It is a freeing side of the business. And it just puts everybody on the same page. It really gains credibility. It gains confidence. Everybody wins from this process. So get out there, follow these steps, follow these tactics, understand that your curse of knowledge might be getting in your way. Don't rush the process, and get out there and build yourself a better business.
You've been listening to Scott E. Plaskett, a certified financial planner and industry veteran in the world of fee-based financial planning. Want free resources to help you build a better fee-based financial planning firm? Visit ilovefinancialplanning.com right now to register for Scott's Inner Circle email list, where you'll get front-of-the-line updates on the latest resources that are driving profits to Scott's fee-based financial planning practice. All of the resources are pulled directly from the highly acclaimed fee-based financial planning mastery academy. Go now to ilovefinancialplanning.com. Build a better business and make more money with your fee-based financial planning practice today.